This week at Bungie, we take a look at every grain in the ability sandbox. Okay, I like that little play in words, grain and ability sandbox, because sand's a grain. Okay, little details, whatever, move on. Hello and welcome to another sandbox focused TWAB. If you're new around these parts, you may be asking, what's a sandbox? Well, it's complicated. It's a split between the weapons you use, the armor you equip, the perks and mods that you hunt for, and the enemies you face. Let's be real, the Destiny 2 sandbox is broad. Broad? Yes. Last week, we focused on the weapons sandbox and what changes are planned for December 7th. This week, we're taking a pass on the abilities of your Guardian possesses. Think supers, melees, grenades, and class abilities. I highly recommend you grab a glass of water and maybe even a snack because we've got plenty of lengthy update for you to read. I got so much water! Before we dive into the details, it's customary to have a TWAB intro discussing what's going on in the world in Bungie and Destiny. Let's keep this short and sweet, shall we? Our 30th anniversary is on December 7th, which just so happens to be 19 days from the publication of this blog article. In-game, there's still plenty to do between seasonal challenges, Trials of Osiris, and the occasional Iron Banner, vendor reputation, god roll hunting, and more. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving here in the States, and many of us will be taking some time to rest up and spend time with family. Yes! And such, expect a very light 12 next Wednesday. Word. All right, sandbox time, let's get into it. There are buffs, there are nerfs, there are tuning levers that we've recently unlocked with the backend changes. There are clear separations between PvE and PvP. That is so hot. Separations. There is a lot going on here, so don't feel bad if you scratch your head wondering how these upcoming changes will feel. I'm going to scratch my head trying to read some of these words, bro, because I already know they're about to be huge. If you find anything a bit confusing, please sound off in the questions. Yes, how do I pronounce a certain word? That's what I'm going to be asking as I go through this. We'll clarify as we can on our forums and social spaces with all these we're already getting started. Preamble out of the way, I'll finally shut up and pass the mic over to the team. New legends will rise. Hey all, Kevin Yanes here to give you a quick intro before I hand off a fellow designers Eric Smith and Mike Humboldt. Oh shit. Humboldt. Shit, Frabo? Okay. A few 12s ago, I gave a brief roadmap leading towards our 30th anniversary, the Witch Queen and beyond. Our roadmap update will likely not happen for some time after this, as the team is hands down on more than a few initiatives. One of the initiatives you're going to hear about today is the adjustment to ability regeneration as a whole, and refocusing of Crucible gameplay on weapons. Okay, all right. The team has touched almost every piece of abilities content with this release, and I'm fairly convinced that this will be our biggest balance patch ever. Ooh, every piece of abilities content with this release. Stop it. They're playing with my feelings. I don't believe it. Earlier this year, we heard overwhelming feedback that the Crucible has been largely dominated by ability usage. Damn right. Players felt that abilities were firing off too frequently and with too much potency and too little investment. All right, at its core, Destiny is a game about space magic, so any adjustments to our abilities must be made with care. I absolutely agree. You know, a lot of people say, go play this other game if you don't want abilities. Like, people misunderstand. Like, personally, I can speak for myself. I love the abilities and the super play. That's why I played Destiny 2. I don't just play Destiny 2 and hope that it's going to go to Halo and just be nothing but gunplay. No. I'm addicted to the game because it has very satisfying gameplay, but it also has space magic. But I don't like it when the space magic is literally just shitting on all the weapons and I don't get to use them. We believe the changes we have made will keep the heart of what makes Destiny abilities fun intact while shaving down some of the excessive cases we've seen out there. I feel it's important to reinforce here that part of Destiny's strength is that it's a live game and we're able to iterate and improve the game as it goes on. This means that we're building new foundational systems like the one you'll read about today with that in mind. We're giving ourselves more balancing knobs to tune in before that we ever had before, and we hope you'll start to see why that's so important as you read on. We hope the 30th anniversary shakes up the sandbox in new ways and gets you excited for even more changes coming with the Witch Queen. The team will likely go heads down for a bit as we still have Solar and Arc subclasses alongside the insanely cool initiatives. And by subclasses, I meant 3.0 thing. The team takes player feedback seriously, and as Destiny players ourselves, we have the intrinsic fire to keep improving things for everyone. We hope that you've seen over the last years reinforces that this team is both about competitive balance and making incredibly dope new stuff. All right? Okay, now I'm going to fade away into the ether as Eric Smith takes us into what's coming next. All right. The winds of change. Eric, in the 30th anniversary, we've changed the way ability cooldowns work. Up until now, cooldowns across individual ability types, grenade, melee, class, super, I have generally been identical between all abilities the same type. For example, all the grenades in today's Destiny 2 share the same cooldown time with the exception of stasis grenades. This shared cooldown means that all grenades need to have roughly the same power output because they have the same time cost. For the 30th anniversary, we made a change that allows us to tune the cooldown of each ability separately. Oh? This gives us a new knob to turn when balancing abilities that are too powerful or not powerful enough. Now that we have this new system in place, we've done a cooldown tuning pass for all the subclass abilities in game, tuning each ability's cooldown time against its power output. Yo, that sounds hot. We've also tuned ability power outputs and assigned cooldown times accordingly. So basically what they're saying is that if they wanted to nerf Shatterday, they're going to make it like it's going to have a cooldown of infinity, meaning that once you use it, you're never going to get it back, right? I'm just joking. The best example of this might be the Flux Grenade. Let's take a look. All right. Flux Grenade. Increased base cooldown from 82 seconds to, holy shit, 182. Damn. Increased attached detonation damage from 150 to 250. Oh, so it's gonna one-hit kill. Increased damage versus PvE combats by 15% on top of the base damage increase. All right. Remove projectile tracking. I was a little bit scared about this one, considering how the grenade is right now, but they're removing the projectile tracking, so it's gonna require more skill to land. They added a small amount of aim assist. I have no idea what that means. Maybe as soon as the grenade's about to hit the player, if they move slightly, the aim assist is going to help the grenade actually tag the guy. Maybe. Increased throw speed by 117%. Yo, that thing is going to fly at people. Now sticks to all surfaces. Okay, I like that change too. They increased the speed and it one-hit kills. They got rid of the projectile tracking. Dude, this thing is going to zoom. But I like the change. 82 to 182 seconds. So if you miss it, you throw it, you just fail at it, you're not going to have it back for a while. You got to make it count. All right. As you see, the Flux Grenade now has a very long cooldown, but it's a one-hit kill in PvP if you manage to land it. It also hits harder in PvE. As a reminder, the Flux Grenade is currently only available to Hunter Arc Striders. Now here's an example in the opposite direction, the Firebolt Grenade. Reduce base cooldown from 82 seconds to 64. So this one's getting a buff. Reduce damage per bolt from 90 to 65. Okay, that makes sense. If you're going to have it more often, then you would need it to do less damage, right? And then increase the damage versus PvE combats by 15. So far, I like what they're doing. I can see the separation from PvE to PvP. They're making these things sound a little bit more difficult to use, take advantage of, as the Flux Grenade requires more skill now, but they're making them feel better in PvE as well. People love space magic in PvE, including myself. The Firebolt Grenade has a low cooldown time, especially at tier 10 discipline. It also has low damage output. These kinds of varied cooldowns and power output should make the game feel more dynamic and give more depth to build crafting. Ooh, I'm gonna get chills. Give more depth to build crafting. I love that, bro. I love that. To make build crafting around cooldowns easier, you'll now be able to see the base cooldown time of your abilities from selecting them in the subclass screen. Oh, all right. On the character screen, you'll see the actual cooldown time of the abilities as they're affected by your equipped ability and armor stats. Nice. A couple things to know about the cooldown times in the UI. The base cooldown time is actually the cooldown time at tier 3 of the relevant armor stat, strength, discipline, etc. This is because the system technically penalizes you for tanking your stats below tier 3, in which case your cooldown would be longer than the base. We're looking to updating this more intuitive in the future release. Alright. Cooldown times for class abilities are not currently displayed due to the technical issue. We plan to fix this in a future release. We've been calling this the variable ability cooldown system, and we think it's the beginning of a big change for Destiny 2 Sandbox. It's a foundational change in preparation to move the light subclasses over to the subclass 3.0 system that Stasis currently uses. For the 30th anniversary, we're using it to change the cooldown of nearly every ability in the game. Damn. These are some big changes. So they gave us 2 examples, but essentially they're applying this thought process to every ability, every grenade. They're not spoiling, what's happening to a suppressor or, an arc bolt in terms of the cooldown if they're doing more damage or whatnot. At least that's what I'm assuming. One of our design goals this year was to reduce the amount of ability spam in the Crucible and put focus back on gunplay. Sick. To this end, we've made ability cooldown times longer on average than they were before. So abilities overall are just going to take way longer to get. Meaning there's going to be a lot more pressure on you as a player. And it's going to make you think twice before you throw a grenade, pop a rift, maybe a barricade, and just waste it for no point. I'm going to have to sit there in the match and think to myself, is this really the situation where I want to use this ability? Or can I save it for now and use it when I really, really need it? I think I might appreciate using that strategical thinking. Not sure about other people though. People love spamming. They just throw it away and then they're going to feel like they don't have any abilities ever. Mainly because they just probably won't consider the best situations to actually use it for. Like I already see it a lot in Crucible. People just waste their abilities like nothing. We don't want the PvE experience to suffer for the sake of PvP balance though, so we try to compensate where possible. That's excellent. For example, we've increased all grenade damage versus PvE combats by 15% or more. That's great. This should make all grenades feel like bigger power moments than they do in today's game. Melee ability cooldowns haven't been increased quite as much as the grenade cooldowns, and some of the less aggressive melee attacks have lower cooldowns than before. Class ability cooldowns have also generally increased, but the changes vary depending on which ability is used. So they're applying this to melees and your class ability cooldowns. That's pretty sick. I'm really curious to just dive into the gameplay, like when the update goes live, and see what certain melees have low cooldowns and the changes they made. Same with the class abilities. Speaking of which, they're putting up my tie-in right now. What are they going to do to you? We're excited to see how these changes feel once they hit the live game, and we'll be monitoring the adjustment accordingly to the future releases. I'll now pass the mic to Mike Humboldt. To talk about the changes to super cooldowns. Into the fray. Mike, since Destiny launched in 2014, the super energy gain has been almost entirely passive. Yes. Your intellect stat dictates how quickly your super regenerates, with a few other elements like orbs of power, armor, and weapon perks, and defeating targets with active sources. Correct? This system worked well for a long time, but has issues that have grown more obvious as the game has evolved in overall player skill, especially skill in evaluating how to play around their character build has increased. Example, in high-stake game modes like Trials of Osiris or Survival, where each life is precious, passive play becomes more common as the player sits back and waits for supers to close out the tight game. In general, we want the most efficient way to gain super energy to be actively engaging in combat. That doesn't mean you need to win every fight, but we want you to try. I really like the sound of that. Yeah. Encouraging, seeking out engagements, even if you don't win them. Are they going to do something in regards to just fighting people, like not even getting a kill or even dying at all? I wonder. I'm curious. Let's see. To get us closer to that goal, we're making a big change to the system. Super regeneration will still have a passive component scaled by your intellect stat, but at a significantly reduced rate. So this kind of sounds like they're killing the intellect stat. Not completely, but enough to the point where hopefully a player won't feel like they need to run tier 10 intellect in Trials of Osiris just because they need to, you know what I mean? That's kind of like the meta in Trials right now. If you're not running 9 intellect or more, you're kind of throwing. You want to have that super because right now as it stands, the supers are just like free kills and free rounds, you know? Like it is scary when you're up like 4-0 or I don't know, something close like that. And the enemy finally starts getting their supers. They use one, they win a round. They use the next super, they win another round. The next super, they win another round. Next thing you know, it's a tied game and you're like, bro, what? We used all our supers to get up to 4-0 and we get punished, you know, for the little super plays they got going on. On top of your passive regeneration, you also gain super energy by dealing and taking damage to or from opponents. Oh, damn. So you get super energy by dealing and taking damage. That's pretty big change. Yeah, I didn't expect that. Here are some few key goals for this new system. In PV, super uptime should be relatively unchanged from the live gain, if not slightly higher. We are pretty happy with the frequency of supers in most PvE content and don't want to make big changes right now on that front. Everybody should get at least one super in a 6v6 match that goes to the score or time limit as long as they engage in regular combat, right? Expression of power through using your awesome space magic is a core part of what makes Destiny special, and we're not looking to change that. We think that the cadence of supers in 6v6 modes is slightly too high. Thank you, dude. There's so many supers. I swear they get one, and the whole team spams the rest of their supers, and then by the time then the last guy in the lobby is done with their super, the first guy has it again, and I'm just like, oh my god, come on, bro. But we don't expect a dramatic change in super uptime for most players in playlists like Control or Iron Banner as a result of these changes. Oh. Supers should be less frequent in 3v3 modes than the live game, where 2 supers per match is fairly regular occurrence. These changes are about expression of player skill. We want that skill to be primarily about team coordination, positioning, intelligent use of your abilities, and first and foremost, gunplay. While there's absolutely skill in outmaneuvering active supers or playing around super uptime, supers in general are purposely designed to be accessible power fantasies for all players. Alright. So there it is in words. That's how they want them to be. Just accessible power fantasy for all players. Because I've seen debates about like you should be earning your super like it's a kill streak, you know, things like that. I'm just like, I don't know if I agree with that. Or they would. And that inherently creates a asymmetry that we need to account for in more competitive play. Yeah, they do. Primary weapon play should have a noticeable benefit in super energy regeneration. With this new system, we are scaling energy gains up and down granularly based on the source of damage, both outgoing and incoming. Outgoing primary weapon damage has a significantly higher return of super energy per damage point than any other damage type of damage. Oh, I like that a lot. So I like that a lot because that doesn't mean it's encouraging people to be apes with a shotgun or just spam fusion rifles and then they get like a super right away. You know what I mean? This means if I really want to benefit off getting that power fantasy, a super that can probably win me around, I have to use my primary a lot. It's going to make you think as a player, it's like, all right, I could get these free kills with this weapon, but if I use my primary a lot, I can kind of play the long term in this 3v3 mode and get that super, which is going to be a lot more beneficial long term during the match. I mean, I kind of like the sound of that, to be honest. I like the sound of that because normally I would say pre-Bungie, before this TWAB, they would make it so that shotguns give you more super energy, you know, giving a punch would give you more super energy. And it was just like annoying because there were so many things in the game that kind of encourage you to never use a primary, you know, like let's say there was Thresh on the shotgun, right? Thresh on the sniper rifle, things of that nature. And you're like, oh, remember remote connection and pump action mods on the shotguns and stuff like that? And it was like, bro, why don't they have that for the primary instead? That way people would, you know, think twice to use the primary to get more super energy. Anyways, moving along. Different supers should come online at different times in the given match, and your super of choice should have an impact on how quickly it regenerates. Oh? To reiterate what we mentioned above, we have always lived in a world where nearly every super in the game shares the same cooldown, regardless of their efficacy in a given game mode. Now that we have made the foundational change to differentiate cooldowns per individual ability, we want to address the super o'clock issues in the Crucible. Oh! We're 3 minutes into a match, 12 supers are... Yes! We're 3 minutes into a match, 12 supers are simultaneously popped and chaos ensues. We also want to open up build crafting space where your super's cooldown time is an important element in your decision making beyond how high you want your intellect stack to be. Bro! Oh, dude. This is probably one of the best changes they're making. Like, I feel like, oh, this is so nice to hear. Like, people love Trials changes. Yeah, I feel like the loud voices are usually about Trials of Osiris and survival, but I think overall what's really, really important is also having like a nice harmony inside a 6v6 playlist like Quick Play and Iron Banner. I feel like everybody plays that, man, and if the Quick Play is better, bro, I feel like more people would be fans of PvP. But dude, that whole chaos when someone gets a super or people just start popping supers, I swear, like once supers go down, it feels like the rest of the match is just ruined. It's not because supers are being used. It's just the fact that they're so oppressive and they're nonstop. And it literally feels like you go from gunplay to just literally a super spam. Anyways, this is really nice. I wonder what else they're going to do. To that end, we've separated supers into cooldown tiers that affected both the passive regeneration rate as well as damage-based regeneration rate. I'm a little bit worried because I don't know how they're going off, like what feedback they're taking to decide what supers belong in what tier. Because there's some supers that some people would say are terrible, and I'm just like, are you serious? That thing is literally busted. You know, like Revenant is a good example. I swear people will preach that it's one of the worst supers, and I'm just like, bro, what? It's literally, you freeze them and they cannot do anything. That tornado is insane. That's just my personal opinion, I guess. This tiering was primarily influenced by each super kill's potential, where most one-off supers are unlikely to wipe a team or a room of combatants, but a long-lasting roaming super can and should have a trade-off as a result. We've also taken into account the general potency of the subclass kits where possible. For example, later on we'll discuss Shatter Dive. Yes! Destroy it, kill it, remove it from the game! And changes we're making which impact how effective the Revenant Hunter is in the neutral game, causing us to shift some of that potency to the super's uptime as a result. It's also important to stress that this is the first iteration of the system, where any given super will fall into the recharge rate tiers will change over time as we continue tuning. These are the super regeneration rate tiers that we're launching in December 7th. All right, so the fastest tier 5 is a Well of Radiance. And that's the only one, just Well of Radiance. All right. It's 4-4 Trials of Osiris. Let's say nobody has a super. Everybody's getting close. The Well of Radiance Warlock gets it first. It's OBJ in the middle. Well, cracked. Might actually be nice to have. So this is making Will a lot more relevant in PvP. Dude, those healing grenades. Oh my God. Will might actually be like usable. Like it's going to go from a meme in PvP to actually a subclass that I might just be like, bro, this guy's running well. Tier 4 is Blade Barrage and Silence of Squall. All right, Blade Barrage tier 4 is Silence and Squall though. So you mean that, let's say nobody's doing any damage, 0-0. Silence and Squall is literally going to be faster than every other super other than Blade Barrage and Will of Radiance. Literally, this thing literally counters anything in the game, bro. You freeze and you just insta-kill them out of the super. I'm scared. But I mean, Shatter Dive's getting destroyed, so I mean, I hope. So if that's the case, we can let it slide. Tier 3. I mean, they're Shatter Divers. They can't even use the primer anyway, so what am I worried about? Tier 3, Shadow Shot, Burning Maul, Arc Staff, Nova Bomb, and Thunder Crush. Hey, Thunder Crush made it to the list and Nova Bomb. So only 2 roaming supers made it to tier 3. Arc Staff and Burning Maul. Damn. Now I wonder, will Arc Staff become one of the best subclass to run? Because bottom Arc Strider is an insane subclass with the neutral play. The damage reduction, not to mention the fact that when you pop your super, you also get damage reduction when you're dodging. And if you can get that fast, might actually be pretty lethal to use. Ooh, I'm already thinking of a build to use. Arc Staff with elemental capacitor weapons. Ooh, baby. Next up, tier 2, Golden Gun, Chaos Reach, Nova Warp, Sorb Trance, Daybreak, and Sentinel Shield. All right. So for the slowest regeneration supers, we have Spectral Blades, Fist of Havoc, Hammer of Soul, Glacial Quake, and Winter's Wrath. Interesting. So Daybreak made it to tier 2. They didn't go to tier 3 with this one. Interesting. I would have put Daybreak with these ones too. But I mean, it's only 1 tier difference. Interesting. So I'm assuming this is what they would consider the strongest roaming supers in the game currently. Spectral, Fist of Havoc, Hammer Soul, Glacial Quake, Winter's Wrath. Alright. Not too bad. Storm Trance and Daybreak are kind of sus. Storm Trance, like top 3 Stormcaller with Ionic Trance is no joke. People are underestimating that subclass so much. But it seems okay so far. As Kevin and Eric mentioned, this sets up for the future as we move towards the subclass 3.0 system. As an example, for the 30th anniversary, things like Deadfall and Mobius Quiver variants of the Shadow Shot will share the same cooldown tier, but with the Void 3.0 launch in February, they could exist in different tiers based on their potency. By the same token, Ward of Dawn, which is currently tied to Sentinel Shield's cooldown, will be moved into the tier 5 group as a standalone super with Void 3.0. tier 5. Oh, so it's gonna be one of the fastest ones. Oh, all right. So Wall of Radiance, you're not the only one there. All right, chill out. You're gonna get some company soon. That's interesting. I like the changes to the super. I would have to just play to see how it really plays out, to be honest. But on paper, it just seems like the W so far. It's pretty good. Like nice little positive changes. Taking it down a notch. Mike, let's talk about the non-super abilities for a moment. Yes! Kevin shared our foundational pillars for the role we want abilities to play in a PvP combat sandbox. As a quick refresher, this is where we want to be. Weapons are the primary way players engage in combat. Okay. Non-super abilities accentuate or augment the combat that should rarely solve an encounter by themselves. Yes. Yeah. Abilities have clear strengths, weaknesses, and counterplay. Oh, dude. Please. Please. Counterplay, man. I've been wanting that since like the year 2 Destiny life cycle. I loved in Destiny 2 when I saw that the lightning grenade, you can shoot it and destroy it. I was like, bro, is this the start of like abilities having counterplay? But then pulse grenades happened in year 1 and they were just completely broken, busted. You couldn't do anything about them. And I was like, no, it's not. So it's so nice to see the word counterplay in the same sentence with abilities. Build crafting is rewarding within the moment-to-moment combat loop of Destiny. Oh, dude, I just love that they're using the word build crafting so much in this TWAB right now. We're not there yet. In general, ability uptime in the Crucible is too high for the current potency and it's difficult to understand when an opponent will regain an ability after using it. Some of that uptime comes from passive cooldowns, but many of our outliers also come from elements of the build crafting system that we have previously been unified in ability energy returns between PV and PvP. With the 30th anniversary, we've taken a pass at a significant number of these elements across subclass perks, armor mods, and exotic armor pieces. We have turned PvP energy regeneration separately from their base PvE values, which we are not changing. All right. Per our pillars, we want build crafting to be rewarding, but in its current state, the combinational nature of these perks and items leads to an unsustainable ability energy economy that diminishes weapon play in PvP. For this tuning pass, we focus primarily on items that feed into the self-perpetuating loops of ability energy gains. Here's a brief list of the affected items. Subclass neutral game perks. These perks have had their ability energy regeneration reduced by roughly 50% in PvP. We targeted perks that can either activate out of combat with a single button press, or those that were returning amounts of ability energy that were significantly out of band. Okay. So they're using Whisperer Shards here, the Stasis Fragment, Arc Web, Rising Storm, I don't know what that is, Ionic Traces, I love those, Electrostatic Surge, okay, I know what that is, Aftershocks, I think I know, Inertia Override, Benevolent Dawn, Practice Makes Perfect, and Dark Matter. Alright. Subclass in super perks. These perks scale down energy returns as you get kills in your super. In example, the first kill while in super returns more super energy than the third kill. Sounds like something the striker has. These perks often result in supers being able to roam the map for much longer than is healthy for the game and mean that a victim can frequently die to an active super, respawn on the other side of the map, and be killed by the same super again. Yes. Yes, some supers just last forever. I felt like overall in Destiny 2, ever since they buffed supers, they were just lasting way too long. Like, I remember that somebody said if you compare the shortest super in Destiny 2 to the longest super in Destiny 1, something about that the Destiny 2 super was still lasting longer than D1. That's something I feel like I remember hearing. I don't know how true it is, but that was kind of wild to me. It blew my mind. We've reskilled this energy refund decay more aggressively in PvP so that the minimum energy refund is reached roughly twice as quickly. No change has been made to the refund decay against PvE combatants. Everlasting Fire, Dawnblade on Warlock, and the Trample Striker Titan. Exotic Armor. Each exotic below had a custom tuning pass focused on their ability energy return in PvP. Frosty's no longer stacks multiplicability in PvP with other regeneration buffs. Is now an additive scaler. No changes in PvE. Alright, I'm glad they looked at this. They had to, because, I mean, if they're nerfing abilities, Frosty would be like the number one thing a hunter would think about just to get their grenades back immediately, you know? Heart of Inmost Light. thought so. Ability energy regeneration scale is reduced by 50% in PvP. Reworked so that activating multiple abilities will now reliably result in multiple empowered stacks. The stacking behavior was previously a bug, but this seemed like a good opportunity to promote it to a feature. Oh. Controverse hold. Duration of the grenade regeneration buff is no longer random between 1 to 4 seconds. It is now a fixed duration of 1.75. Reduce grenade energy regeneration scale by 50% in PvP. The previous average duration due to waiting was 1.71 seconds with a 1 second duration between most common, so this should improve this exotic's consistency across the game with lower return in PvP. Alright. I like that they made it more consistent, just so you know. Instead of guessing, it's like, oh, is it going to be 1 second, 4 seconds this time? Can I get lucky? They just made it a flat 1.75. Doomfang Pauldrons. Reduce super energy gain on activation when an opposing player is killed by a void melee by 50%. Dang. I remember that build I made. Just running around with Monte Carlos, Doomfang Pauldron, and just getting super energy so fast. I think you could get 4 melee punches, like fully charged up, and you would get a super. Shinobu's Vow. Reduce grenade energy gain on hits versus players by 66%. Okay, that's nice. Because, I mean, there's some people, they get a skip grenade build going on, they throw one, it tags me from Narnia. I don't even see them sometimes, they'd be bugging out, and they got another skip grenade. I'm like, bro, alright, you know what? I'm leaving this gunfight. Toronto Tempest. Grenade melee and super energy regeneration scalar buff duration reduced from 7 seconds to 4 in PvP. The Stag. Oh, reduce class ability energy refund on shield break by 50%. So I don't know if they're going to talk about the Stag much more, but this seems to be the nerf that they decided with for the Stag. My reindeer friends, you are safe. This is a nice change though. I did feel like it was kind of free how much rift you would get back just for taking damage. Armor mods. In general, we've reduced energy returns from these mods by roughly 50% in PvP, depending on the number of copies of the mod you have slotted. So this includes melee kickstart, grenade, utility, perpetuation, bolstering detonation, focusing strike, bomber, outreach, dynamo distribution, momentum transfer, and impact induction. Okay. So you usually use all these mods for build making, you know, to make it more in depth, to really focus on a certain path, like if you want grenades and stuff. This is a big foundational shift for us, and we expect to do a lot of tuning as time goes on. So as always, we'll be on the lookout for how things are feeling across the game, and we'll adjust accordingly. By 50% though, that's a lot. Damn. Sounds like you're really going to have to stack these mods now if you really want to do a grenade build. Interesting. I wonder if they're going to be worth it though. If there's such diminishing returns, like the amount of energy you get, are they even going to be worth it ever? I'm sorry to say, but I feel like they might not be. I would have to play and see what happens when you start to combine all these mods together for a grenade build. Now I'll throw it over to Eric for some spicy details on more abilities tuning changes you can expect with the 30th anniversary. Dang, this is long. In case you haven't caught on yet, the list of abilities changes we're making the 30th anniversary is massive. We've touched nearly every ability in the game in some way. We won't go over the full patch notes because it's mind-numbingly long. But let's take a look at some of the more provocative balance changes. Stasis crystals. Destroy! Shatter dive! Do it! Stasis crystals do a lot. They do more than just a lot, bro. On top of freezing players when they're created, they also block line of sight, block movement, and act as explosive barrels. They do more than just that. It's all a bit too much for PvP. Yeah. With this release, stasis crystals will now slow players instead of freezing them, and they'll do much less damage to players when they detonate. Okay? They'll do less damage to players when they detonate. I like the sound of that. Am I still gonna get shadow dived? As far as PvE is concerned, stasis crystals will still freeze combatants. And we've increased stasis crystal detonation damage versus PvE combatants. You poor Shanks. Now you have to deal with what I had to deal with. I'm about to go shadow dive a Shank. Looking at the numbers, it was almost always better to shoot directly at a combatant instead of a crystal near a combatant. This change should help crystals better live out their explosive barrel dreams. Oh. Stasis crystals. I just want to skip this and go to hunt. Oh, what are they doing? While farming, stasis crystals now slow nearby players instead of freezing them. I like that. I'm just primarily thinking of supers where you throw a crystal at a super and you would freeze it and they were donezo. This time around, now they just get slowed. They still freeze PvE combatants, increase slow freeze radius while forming from 1.75 meters to 2.6. Okay. Alright, that's fine. They're doing this change because it's going from freezing to slowing in Crucible. Reduce crystal detonation damage versus players by 55%. Kill it! Increase crystal detonation damage versus P combatants by 60%. Oh shit. Increase crystal detonation radius from 6 meters to 8 meters. Alright. They reduced it by 55%. I don't know if that's enough, bro. I don't know if that's enough because as it stands now, those crystal nades, at least Shadow Dive wise, that shit's a tactical nuke from Call of Duty MW2, bro. That should be doing like 420% damage. So 55% damage nerf right now, that just makes it like less than 400, you know? And it basically still be a tactical nuke. I'm gonna keep reading though. Hunter, dodge. Nah. Oh, dude, I swear they buff hunters right now. If they buff the dodge, I don't even know what I'm gonna say. All right, let's see what happens. Don't disappoint. In order to meet our goal of less ability spam in Crucible, we're reducing how often hunters dodge. Get wrecked. Literally get sauce, bro. Oh my god, bro. I bet you this is on Reddit. I just need to read one sentence and I can tell my chat is probably filled with salty hunters. Reddit's probably talking about the hunter dodge nerf. I don't have to read the rest. This is more than enough. Oh, bro. Literally the easiest, most oppressive character in the game. And only hunter mains will disagree. Gambler's dodge is getting hit the hardest here because it can completely circumvent melee ability cooldown times. Word, I agree with that. It also completely changes the hunter silhouette. Yes! Making it very powerful. Yes! Dude, it's just a dodge, man. Like, it's not even OP, dude. The shoulder charge gives you a kit. Bro, please. In addition, the hunter dodges will no longer break projectile tracking. Oh, get wrecked. This is only like if you use Yotun. So this is a Yotun main buff right here. Wait, does projectile count as like grenades too? Meaning it's less of a get out of jail free card when tracking rocket or another slow moving projectiles is flying toward you. Bro, they're low-key roasting hunter mains right now. They literally just said, yo, listen, bro, we got to tell it to you straight. We know 99% of our players in PvP are hunter mains, but we got to be honest with you, bro. Your dodge is a get out of jail free card. I like it. This is comedy. Hunter dodge no longer breaks projectile tracking. Marksman dodge. Tier 10 mobility cooldown increase from... Oh, get wrecked. Gambler's dodge. Tier 10 mobility cooldown increase from 11 to... 18 seconds? Bro. Now your dodge is actually probably going to behave like an actual ability. I swear, tier 10 hunters have a dodge every single time, bro. I blink, they're dodging. I blink again, and they have another dodge. Revenant. You guessed it. The stasis crystal changes detailed earlier mean that the Hunter Revenant Shadow Dive will almost never kill full health Guardian. Thank you for telling us that. I might just cry. Shadow Dive may still kill if the Hunter's using Whisper of Fish. What do you mean may still kill? Shadow Dive may still kill if the hunter's using Whisper of Fissures. That's the big crystal one, right? That's what everybody uses, though. I don't see a single hunter shadow diving without this fragment. Oh, they said Whispers and Touch of Winter. I don't remember what they do. And they're kind of implying you need both now. And the target is in the very center of all 6 crystals, but that has been incredibly rare in our playtesting. Alright. So you're telling me they said it was rare in their playtesting. So if I'm IFrostBolt, right, and I'm using 10 out of 10 movement to avoid and dodge a Hunter Revenant crystal, you're telling me that I will successfully get out of the center of the crystal and I will not die, right? Alright. Right. Okay, I'm down. And it said very center because the crystal's making like a freaking circle, right? Alright, I'm down. Alright. I think we're safe. They destroyed it! I think we can all agree the Shadow Dive was too powerful. It was more than powerful, bro. It was broken. We tried a number of fixes over the past few releases, but the truth is, as long as Stasis Crystal froze players and Shadow Dive shattered players, it was going to be too good. But it's not all rain clouds and puddles for Shadow Dive hunters, sadly. The increase in Stasis Crystal damage versus PvE combats make Shadow Dive a great choice in PvE. On top of that, we're increasing Shadow Dive damage versus frozen combats by 100%. Damn. That's right. You want to go hurt some feelings? You want to go Shadow Dive? Go do it to a Shank and a Dreg, bro. Alright? Don't come to PvP with that. Shadow Dive. Much less lethal versus players due to Stasis Crystal changes. Much more lethal versus combats due to Stasis Crystal changes. Increased shadow damage versus PvE combats by 100%. Grim Harvest Aspect. Increase fragment slots from 2 to 3. Alright. Top Tree Arc Strider. This change to the combination blow melee was made possible by our variable ability cooldown system. Previously, Top Tree Arc Striders were basically required to use Gambler's Dodge with this tree. We hope this change will make this ability viable even if you're using Marksman Dodge. Reduce base cooldown duration from 96 seconds to 15. What does combination blow do? I forgot. I have to go look into it. I'm assuming it's something regarding the melee or the dodge. Whatever. As long as it's not broken. Increasing melee punch. Oh, okay. Alright, it's just the melee damage. Alright. Bottom Tree Night Stalker. The Vanish and Smoke melee has low damage output but high utility. Our data shows that the subclass tree is struggling in PvP, so we decided to increase how often Pathfinder hunters can go invisible. Reduce base cooldown from 96 to 75 seconds. They're increasing how often a hunter can go invisible. But this is bottom Night Stalker with Quiver. The top one is the one where you dodge and you get invis. That one seems fine. This one though, you use your melee, right? So 75 seconds for the melee. Okay. That's still plenty of time, to be honest. And then you can't even get it back that fast because the dodge is still nerfed, the bottom dodge. Alright. It does need some love, I'm not gonna lie. That Quiver though, I see somebody using Quiver, I'm just like, Titan. Oh my god, my Titan, what are they doing to you, bro? Oh, don't tell me Reddit finally got to you, bro. Shoulder charge. Oh, they did. Reddit finally got to you, bro. My YouTube comment section finally got their wishes. I know it's getting destroyed, I can tell. They just had to say shoulder charge. What are they doing? They're going to delete it from the game, huh? They're probably going to do a change where a Titan that tries to shoulder charge will get Destiny 2 uninstalled from their PC. I'm telling you, bro. People in my YouTube comment section, Reddit, they hate Titans and shoulder charge. Let's see what they did. I don't even know the last time I've used a shoulder charge to get a kill. To be honest. Like, I feel like the only time I ever used shoulder charge was back in Destiny 1. Just for movement. Alright, let's see. No more Rhinoceros Titans, I feel like. Damn, I'm gonna miss them. Free kills. In our effort to put the emphasis back into gunplay in Crucible, we've decided to reduce the number of abilities that can one-shot full health Guardian. Alright, okay, that's fine. So they're not just giving it to shoulder charge, they're doing this treatment to other things as well. As such, the Titan's Tree shoulder charges are no longer one-shot abilities in PvP. To balance this out, we made the shoulder charges quicker to activate, easier to hit with, and travel farther. Ooh, yes. I like the sound of that. Okay, listen, no meme. If it sounds as good as it does, quicker to activate, I don't care about the easier to hit with, but travel farther, bro, shoulder charge might actually be a viable movement ability. Oh, I miss fucking zooming around with shoulder charge, dude. I mean, they didn't say we're gonna do Titan skating, but still using the melee ability to like just change your position instantly from one area to another or try to juke, like it might be viable. That'd be super nice. All right. We've also increased their damage in PvE. In our experience, they are still powerful in PvP in combination with a short-range weapon when used as a movement tool. We wanted to curve shoulder charge potency. Now that we've turned down shotguns as a current counter, we'll be monitoring the data and feedback and adjusting accordingly. All shoulder charges. They can no longer one-shot players. Sprint activation time reduced from 1.5 to 1.25. That's going to be pretty nice. That's going to feel good. That's going to feel like a good buff, I feel like. Increased range from 5.5 meters to 6.8. Damn. This might feel like normal shoulder charge now, because the current shoulder charge, I swear, like it's so hard to get that to hit on somebody. You could be right next to them and it still won't lock on. Targeting cone width increased by 10%. Yeah, so this two in combination should help with the shoulder charge locking on. Increased damage versus PvE combats by 25%. And some multiple scope for combo for PvE? Oh shit. Seismic Strike arc shoulder charge. Reduce AoE damage from 90 to 40. Okay. Now blinds enemies in the area on hit. Oh. Oh my god. Arc shoulder charge might actually be decent, because if you rush somebody, you blind them, you can actually have like a window opportunity to melee or shoot with your gun before they're like actually able to see or something. Increase base cooldown from 82 seconds to 90. Shield bash, void shoulder charge. Reduce AoE from 90 to 40. Increase base cooldown from 82 to 90. Yeah, but this doesn't even matter. Shield bash is terrible. This thing needs a buff with the registration. It's so bad. Hammer strike, solar shoulder charge. Now this is the one that I think I care the most about, because top tree sunbreaker for PvP is pretty fun. Redirect, reduce direct impact damage from 170 to 120. Increase base cooldown from 82 to 90. Okay, so it's just similar stuff. Barricade. Even with the rally barricade changes we made in Season of the Lost, using this ability during a firefight is still a risky proposition. We spaced out the cooldowns of the two barricades to make the choice slightly more interesting. Tower and barricade. Increase base cooldown duration from 37 to 40 seconds. Rally barricade. Reduce base cooldown reduction from 37 to 32 seconds. I mean, it's nice that the rally barricade is getting some love, but I would say this is like far from the issue that rally barricade has. I mean, they even pointed it out themselves that using this ability during a firefight is still a risky proposition. So it's like a cooldown isn't going to help that issue at all, in my opinion. I would feel like, I don't know, something in regards to popping it faster, trade-off. But, I mean, it's a welcome change for Rally Barricade. It needs some love. It hasn't been used at all. I try to give it a fair shot with the buffs they got with the flinch and the extra range, but it's terrible. We agree with the general community feedback that the Behemoth could use some love in PvE. We're hoping that these changes to Diamond Lance make this aspect the top tier PvE pick. Bro, if they make it wild in PvE, dude, Behemoth is going to be a blast to play. Shiver Strike is getting a big damage buff during the Glacial Quake Super. The Whisper of Chains Fragment buff here is also very spicy and should help the Behemoth survivability in Pinnacle PvE activities. Whisper of Chains can be used by all stasis subclasses, but making crystals is kind of the Behemoth thing, so we're listing here. So Diamond Lance now has fragment slots from 1 to 3. It now spawns a Diamond Lance upon killing a PvE combatant with a stasis. What? Bro. That is gonna be nuts. You spawn a lance by getting the kill with a stasis weapon. If you go in with a Vulpecula, you're just making lances for your squad everywhere. Oh, dude, I want to try that. Killing 3 players with stasis weapons in a single life. Oh, shit. Killing an enemy with a stasis ability. Shattering an enemy. All right. Shiver Strike. Increase Shiver Strike damage while in Glacial Quake by 50%. All right. Increase damage resistance versus PvE combatants from 25 to 40%. Oh, you're going to be way tankier. Bottom tree Striker. Damn, Striker's about to get clapped left and right. Oof. This class is absolutely dominating PvP this season. So we're turning it down a notch. The changes we made to Fist of Havoc and Season of the Lost helped top tree as intended, but they also turned bottom tree into a monster. On top of that, the stasis nerfs and other changes we made over the past few releases created a power vacuum that Striker bought. Hey! What do you mean? What are you calling it a Striker bot, bruh? Just say Striker bottom. What do you mean Striker bot? I'm taking that personally. A vacuum the Striker bot filled with extreme prejudice. We hope these changes put Striker bot back into the pack instead of towering high above everything else. Yeah, bro? Knockout. Alright, destroy it. Melee lunge range and melee damage bonus now deactivate after a melee kill. Ooh. That's a nice change. I agree with that. I thought they were going to do something more. I feel like they should have done more than this, but this is a nice change. I don't know if it's going to be enough. I hope it is. So it deactivates after a melee kill. Alright. That's good balance. You can no longer get knockout and just punch 3 people like just over and over and rubber band all over the freaking place. That shit is so annoying. Trample. Super energy gain from Hiss of Havoc. Light attack not the case to a minimum amount over 3 PvP kills, down from 7. Alright. Word. Makes sense. Helping the whole idea of not just infinitely going with your super. Frontal Assault Melee. Okay. Increase base cooldown from 82 seconds to 102. Nice. It's interesting. This one won't really hurt too much. It's still nice that you keep knockout though, even if you don't have your melee charged up. I think that's the biggest thing. If they would have made it where knockout is tied to your melee charge being up, then it would hurt a lot more. Fist of Havoc. Heavy slime radius reduced. Thank you! Oh my god, bro. When they buffed the slam attack on Striker Titan, I was like, bro, I literally was like, why did they make the Striker bot that cracked in super? Like, they didn't need that. Hello? I'm happy they're, I don't know if they're reverting it completely, but they're nerfing it. So that's nice. It's a really good change. Warlock, all right, the slap locks. Uncharged melee. Warlocks have been losing slap fights for too long. Yes, up until now. Warlocks haven't been able to melee back to back as quickly as Titans or Hunters. No more. Warlocks, congratulations. Congrats. You now can slap really, really fast. With the 30th anniversary, Warlocks will be able to melee just as quickly as Titans and Hunters. We're also removing the 1 meter range extensions Warlock received to compensate. There we go. I agree with that change. Now, if they can make it not whiff, it'd be a dove. But that's nice. We still think the idea of each class having unique qualities of their melee is interesting, but we want to try to do it in a way that won't cause one class to consistently lose slap fights maybe someday in the future. Yeah, and look, I wouldn't even feel too bad about removing the meter range to make Warlocks feel like they're Warlocks with a melee, because it comes down to the melees, you know? Like, it still has that uniqueness. A Warlock can shoot a ball of lightning, celestial fire, and that's to the Warlock melee, no other character, you know? Uncharged melee. Reduce melee range from 5.5 to 4.5. Reduce suppression time after the melee. Perfect. Middle Tree Voidwalker. In our effort to do away with one-shot abilities that are frustrating to be hit by, Handheld Supernova is also getting the shoulder charge treatment. That's right. Handheld Supernova will no longer one-shot in PvP. To compensate, it now travels further and pushes enemies back. We also increased the damage of Handheld Supernova Nova War versus champion boss combatants. Yo, if you could push enemies back further, that's going to be so much fun to use, like to troll, you know? You could push people off the map. Oh, dude, it's going to be like the repulsor from Halo, where you just push people away. Oh, I want to try that. We had increased their damage in Season of the Lost, but it felt like they could use even more juice. Handheld Supernova reduced damage versus players, now deals 150 damage max, increased damage versus champions and bosses by 30%, increased projectile range from 12 meters to 14 meters, now pushes targets away from the Warlock on detonation. Alright. This would be like a nice little way to deal with close range players. If you're a sniper player above all, and you know someone's going to rush you, get the handheld and be like, yo, keep some distance, bro. Chill out. Nova Warp, increased damage versus champions and bosses by 30%. Nice. Hopefully that's enough to want to run Nova Warp. Shadebinder. We feel the Shadebinder's in a pretty good place with a couple of exceptions. One, Winter's Wrath is still the best super for shutting down other supers, and it's not even close. Agreed, bro. I'm happy they're touching on this because, dude, if I pop like a Striker or something, Arc Strider, and they have a Shadebinder, the only thing I'm going to do, bro, is literally just wait till it's out or run because he's going to chase me down. Winter's Wrath will now freeze and shatter other supers twice to kill them. Interesting. I wonder if that's going to be enough. Because if you're just frozen the whole time, you can't even hit back. You feel me? So I guess this is going to make the super require more super energy to take out another super. Because as far as I see it playing out right now, it's like I pop my super, they freeze me, he shatters, okay, whatever. I can move a little bit, I can go for an attack, but right before I hit him, he gets to shoot the freaking blast again before I even hit him. He freezes me again, he shatters me once more, and I'm dead, you know? As a general rule, roaming supers shouldn't be able to one-shot other supers. 2. The Penumbral Blast melee is too difficult to land against PvE combatants. When we made the ability harder to land in PvP, it had a negative effect on the PvE experience. We've increased the proximity detonation radius against PvE combatants to make it easier to land. That's fun. All 3 stasis grenades now have different cooldown times. So we made a change to Bleak Watcher to avoid a situation where it was always the best to use grenade with the shortest cooldown time. This results in an overall cooldown increase on Bleak Watcher, which fits its incredibly high power output. Reduce shatter pulse damage versus enemy supers must now generally freeze and shatter all supers twice to eliminate them. Penumbral Blast increased proximity detonation radius versus PvE combatants by 100%. Bleak Watcher, while Bleak Watcher is equipped, all stasis grenades charge at glacier grenade rate. Interesting. That's all for now. Damn, that was a big read, dude. Okay, I think we covered the big stuff. There are a bunch of small changes coming in the 30th anniversary, but we will cover everything else in the official patch notes. As you can see, the team has been hard at work adjusting the sandbox globally. We hope the picture we're painting here reinforces the statements we've made in the past. The sandbox is going to evolve alongside the game. As we hit the year 5 and beyond, this statement will become even more true with new and exciting changes coming with the 3.0 experience. Stay tuned for the patch notes on the 30th anniversary. It goes live on December 7th. Damn. Bro, I want the update now. That was juicy. Overall, pretty good stuff, man. I'm feeling pretty satisfied.